People often think that the secret to a great vocal recording session is in the gear, the microphones, the preamps, the compressor, like what settings you used. And don't get me wrong, gear has its place in the conversation. But to me, the most important thing is the performance and making sure that that comes through even in the final mix. So this is how I approached this vocal recording. Sorry, actually, real quick, there's actually going to be a mix competition for this exact song. So I'll show you where you can download the multi-tracks. There's going to be prizes for the winner. You also get your name on the song credits. Like, how cool is that? All right, let's get back to the video. I'll tell you all about it. When I interned at a studio that was in Texas back in the day, I remember the interview process was surprisingly simple and almost not at all related to audio. Like, I was ready to answer questions about RMS versus peak compression, but as it turns out, we just kind of hung out for a minute. And getting to know the studio owner later, I kind of realized that that interview was because the most important thing is that you need to be a good hang. Like, you can always teach someone how to point a microphone at a vocalist, but you can't necessarily reverse engineer somebody's childhood. God, this session went from like, oh, it's 16 tracks to like, it's gonna be like 38.
Yeah.
And it's mostly vocals.
I usually end up sending.
It's all about the vibes, man. I know it sounds cheesy, but there is so much truth to that. And it makes sense, right? I mean, if your artist is more comfortable, you get a better performance, which gives you a better recording, which is the point. Plus, the artist has more fun. Like, I don't know if you care about repeat clients, but that only helps with that. So here's a couple pointers that I have. Do these things when your artist first shows up, and it really helps to set the tone for the session. So, number one, if they've never been to your studio before, show them where the bathroom is and where to get water. It makes a bigger difference than you might think. Number two, whenever you do get into the studio, hands off the keyboard. Don't touch a microphone or a cable, nothing, for 60 seconds. And I want you just to talk to your artist. Like, they're just humans. You're a human. Be a human. Make a dumb joke. Ask them if they've got any exciting projects coming up, any big shows. Use this first minute as a gauge, because some artists do like to get going right away. They just want to jump into it and get down to business. That's fine. Follow their lead. Other artists want to just hang out for a minute. That's great too. But ultimately, follow the artist's lead and make sure the comfort level is as high as possible. All right, let's talk about the gear. I'm sure everybody's excited about that, which me too, by the way. I like gear. I think it's totally fine to like gear. I don't understand like the weird guilt thing that happens when you talk about gear. But I used two microphones. The first was the Dockman Audio DA67, and that microphone had the vintage Telefunken tube in it. It does make a difference. I did a whole video about that. Am I going to link it here or here somewhere? You can go watch that video to hear for yourself the differences. And then I also use the Dockman Audio DA87-SE. No, Dockman Audio is not sponsoring this video. I would not make a dime if you purchased one of their microphones. I don't even have an affiliate link to those mics, so it's not sponsored. As far as preamps, I used two different preamps. Now, for the DA67, I use the A Designs P1 preamp, which is based on their Pacifica model, which is based on the old Quad 8 console. I love that preamp. I think it pairs up really well with that microphone. It's got a smooth and warm sound, but at the same time, it's got this open top end, but it's not like a pushed out, like it's not a super bright sounding preamp. It can really help out things like sibilance and excess like sizzliness on microphones, which the DA67 does not necessarily have, but they still paired up exceptionally well. And then for the DA87, I ran that into my Chandler TG-2 preamp, which is a little bit of a brighter sounding preamp. It has that extension in the top end, and it does have a little bit of sizzle to it, but the DA87 kind of has this roundness to the top end that actually paired up really well. Fun story, I have used that exact combination, the DA87SE and the Chandler TG-2, for just my voiceover chain in these videos before. And every single time I do that, I get a number of compliments on the sound. That's just a combo that just works really well together.
I thought of you today, although it's been a year. I can always hear the devil whisper in my ear. I try to shake it off, but I'm not gonna lie. A secret's only good if it's eating you alive.
Now, you may have noticed in that clip that I had two microphones set up, and let me tell you why, and also talk a little bit about microphone selection. So first, microphone selection. The reason why I didn't go with a U67-style microphone, because I have talked about those on my channel in the past, but here's the deal. The U47-style microphones will typically push out that upper mid-range so much. It is so prominent that for the wrong singer, it can sound like it is inside of their nose. So singers that have like a nasal character to their voice, or singers with a whole lot of upper mids to their voice, you may want to shy away from that mic. It may not work very well for that. Some singers, maybe so, but for me, I knew that that was not going to be the style of microphone that I wanted to choose, so my initial thought was the 67. For the first song that we recorded, we absolutely used the U67 style mic, and it was beautiful. It worked out perfectly. But for the second song that we recorded, I noticed that he was belting into the microphone, like it was a higher register. He was getting into it just a little bit more. And I even had to turn the pad on my preamp to bring the gain levels down. And when that happens with a 67 style microphone, it thickens up a lot.
Pick it up and talk to me.
Let's do that again. I peeked out because I had everything a little too hot.
Should I step back a bit?
No, I think you're good. And so what I wanted to do is preserve that mid-range and low mid-range, and didn't want it to get too thick or woolly. And so I decided to grab the U87 style microphone and decided to put it right next to it. That way I had both microphones recorded at the same time. And ultimately I can choose which one I wanted to go with.
I thought of you today, although it's been a year. I can always hear the devil whisper in my ear. I try to shake it off, but I'm not gonna lie. A secret's only good if it's eating you alive.
Quick note on microphone positioning as well as proximity. I don't remember when I learned this, but I feel like I should have learned it a lot sooner. So first things first, a little science experiment. Take your hand, flatten it out, and move it around your mouth while you make a T sound. So t, 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 and then put it down here. T, 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 t. You're gonna feel the wind from that T sound hit the back of your hand, right? Now that is the direction, and every vocalist is a little bit different. My T's and S's tend to go straight down, but a lot of vocalists will kind of project forward and down. And I have noticed a lot of times if the microphone is low, it's going to pick up more sibilance, or even if it's just straight ahead. Sometimes vocalists, they will have their T's and S's project more so forward. They can be more sibilant. If you are dealing with that, if you are noticing that with your vocalist, just take the microphone, go up a little, and then angle it down. This will actually oftentimes solve that problem, and you're not going to have to worry about like turbo de-essing and stuff like that. All right, and then for proximity, there is no right or wrong way. It just comes down to personal taste. For me, I say just start with the microphone around 6 or 8 inches away and then make fine adjustments from there. The closer you get, the more intimate it can sound, but the boomier it can sound. And quick note on that too. Oftentimes, if I'm working on like a mix and I wasn't the engineer and I'm having a hard time getting the vocals to like sit on top of the mix or to cut through, it's because the vocalist was like right on top of the mic. Not every time, but some of the time. With this, you've just got so much proximity effect, so much boominess, and it can be a little much. Plus, after compression, you actually get this overwhelming like breathiness. So where it's like the vocals come down and the breaths are even louder than the vocals. It's just, it's a thing that can happen. Be aware of it. Some people really like this super intimate sound. For me, 6 to 8 inches, and for like rock songs, I usually am on the more like further end of that scale, usually 8 inches, maybe even further away. Pro tip, by the way, use your pop filter on a different stand as a reference point to keep your artist in the sweet spot. Now, once all the gear selection was ironed out, my job goes from engineer to engineer and also producer. And in this case, what I mean by producer is like, yes, someone who helps to get the best possible performance from the artist, but also someone who is there to bounce creative ideas off of, to help shape the overall production to serve the song the best way possible, right? Now, footnote on this, stay in your lane. Some artists are very receptive to this and you have a really good give and take and a good relationship and good trust. Other artists, not so much. Thankfully, the Del Cobras have been amazing to work with. I knew that they would be receptive to ideas based on the full band session that we had, full video here. And so with this vocal production, I could give like a little bit of coaching on the vocals. Hey, on those high notes, make sure you lean into it a little bit more. Give it just a little grit on those high notes. Or, hey, let's double track this harmony. That way we can pan it hard left and right and get this 3-dimensional surround sound type of thing. That's great. Let's double it.
All right. Maybe it's the moon, or maybe it's the night. Maybe it's a thought, you'll make everything alright. Pick up, and talk to me. Your voice is the oral fix that I need. Don't leave me hanging, baby. Pick it up and talk to me. Pick it up.
All right, let's talk about this mix competition. I am so excited about this, like Hasselhoff, like properly jazzed. So, words. So first things first, there's going to be a comment down below. Check that comment first. That's a good place to start. That is where I'm going to post any updates to the competition, as well as updates on sponsors, the links to where you can download the multi-tracks. So start there. Number 2, yes, the link will take you to my Patreon page for you to download the multi-tracks. But, and this is an important but, you don't have to be a paying Patreon member to access these raw files. So just keep that in mind. This is open to the public. No one has to pay in order to be a part of this mix competition. However, my paid Patreon members will get access to the other song that we recorded during the session as well. So yes, there were 2 songs that were fully recorded, and for free you'll get access to one, but if you want access to both, that is exclusive for my paid Patreon members. So keep that in mind. Number 3, there will be stuff that you get too. Like, I'm reaching out to a few different companies because I've got a few irons in the fire on that. Check back periodically and check the comment for updates, because I think that there's going to be some really cool stuff. But I mean, at the very least, like maybe I'll give away like one of my pairs of headphones, or I'm upgrading my interface here pretty soon. Expect a video on that. And my old interface that I paid almost $1,500 for when it first came out, I will give that away to the winner if I can't line up a better prize. So bare minimum, awesome interface or a set of headphones, but probably something even cooler than that. So prizes will happen, I promise. Number 4, this is your chance. It's not a guarantee, but it's your chance to get your name on the song credits, which I think is super cool. Now, the reason why I say chance, it's ultimately up to the band. They don't have to use any of these mixes, right? And it's one of those things to where there is a chance that I get a whole bunch of entries into this competition and it's over 100 mixes and they're all just kind of mid. But there's also a chance that you will create an amazing mix and they will use that on all of their streaming platforms, which is just great for you as a resume builder, on top of the fact that you'll also just get cool gear. I think it's just a win-win-win for everyone involved. So keep coming back to this video. Check the comment that's down below. Look for updates. I'm also going to announce it on my TikTok as well as my Instagram. If you have not followed me there, I have links to that in that same comment. Yeah, I wish everybody luck, and I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's mixes. So, all right, let's get back to the vocal recording. And then at the very end of the session, we decided to do another gang vocal. So I took the Dockman Audio, the DA67, and flipped it to Omni, which allows the microphone to pick up sound from all directions around the capsule evenly. I set that in the middle of the room and had us do the gang vocal. And the secret to a good gang vocal, you may remember this from the last video where we did the full band session, is everybody is surrounding the microphone and then you do it again, but the second time you have everybody switch places. And since it was just the three of us, I just had Jim and Mark swap places and then we did it again and then one more time. Let's do one more and you guys trade places real quick. Okay. That way you get just a different kind of feeling for the space. You can also experiment with moving the mic around just a little bit. That way, in post-production, you can kind of pan those different takes around to create the space that you want to create.
A secret's only good if it's eating you alive. Pick up, pick up! Pick up, pick up! Pick up, pick up!
I love doing videos like this. It's my favorite because it's practical. I remember when I was learning, like this type of experience only came from being in the room. And so I want to give you as much of the experience that I got over the years through these videos. So if you want to say thanks to me, I have links down below. All the gear that I've talked about using today, I will have links to that. Some of them are affiliate links. That is maybe the best way to say thank you to this channel. Also, thank you to the Del Cobras. I have their links down below as well. Go to their website, go stream their music, and consider joining the mix competition. Like, that's gonna be so cool to see. Now, of course, if you like this video, consider liking this video. I know that's a crazy thought. Comment down below with any thoughts or feelings. And of course, let me know if I've offended you in any way. That's always a welcome thing too. And then if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You should subscribe to this channel. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.